As they walked out one fine morning, all in the month of May, heave away, my Johnny, heave away. I overtook a fair pretty maid, and unto her did say, heave away, my jolly boys, we're all bound away. Oh, where are you going to, my pretty maid? I unto her did say, heave away, my Johnny, heave away. I'm going a-milking, sir, she said, all in the month of May. Heave away, my jolly lads, we're all bound away. Shall I go with you, my fair pretty maid? I unto her did say, heave away, my Johnny, heave away.
One of my favorite soups in the wintertime is New England style clam chowder. And I've had it in New England and all over the place. And there are several things that are always come up short as far as I'm concerned. It's usually too thick, has too much flour in it, there aren't enough clams, and there are far too many potatoes. And I've tried to come up with a recipe that corrects all of those problems. First thing I do is get a large can at a restaurant supply store of ocean chopped clams. This is a 51-inch can of clams. I drain those and reserve the clam juice, which results in about a quart of clam juice, 32 ounces. We'll also use 2 cans of low sodium chicken stock, like Swanson's, 12 ounces of salt pork, 5 ribs of celery chopped, about this consistency, and 3 small onions, medium small yellow onions chopped, 3 medium-sized potatoes chopped, and the seasonings will be teaspoon of fresh thyme, half teaspoon of finely ground white pepper, a pint, 2 cups of half and half, the juice of 1 fresh lemon, and we'll thicken all of that with some flour and some butter. 3 tablespoons of butter and a third of a cup of flour. All right, the first thing that I did was that I take the rind, the skin, off of the salt pork, dice it, and then rinse it under cold water in a colander to get rid of some of the salt. Because one of the problems with clam chowder, and one of the reasons I think it often has so many potatoes in it, is that all of the constituent parts, the clam juice, the low sodium chicken stock, and particularly the salt pork, are all salty. And it's necessary to put in a lot of potatoes sometimes just to absorb some of the salt. So I'm trying to reduce the salt from the beginning. And into these 12 ounces of chopped up salt pork, I cook it slowly until it's well browned with about a tablespoon of flavorless vegetable oil. And you want it to be quite brown to develop the flavor. And we will use this to cook the onions and the celery. And that's the first step. All right, let's combine the cooked salt pork. Put that in the pan, the pot that you're going to make the soup in, with the onions and the celery. Now then, let's get this starting to cook over medium heat until it starts to cook. Put a lid on it and let it cook for 5 to 10 minutes until everything's tender. Here are the onions and the celery. They cooked for about 7 minutes. I've stirred several times. I've cooked it covered. and it's softening. Let's see how tender it is. Still a little bit crunchy. We can go for a couple more minutes. But it's not too salty, even with that salt pork, because I rinsed it under cold water, so it's not too salty. Alright, it's been about 10 to 15 minutes. The vegetables are soft and just tender, and to the celery and onions and salt pork, I'm going to add 2 cans of chicken broth, low sodium, and all of the clam juice, which is a quart. We'll add the white pepper and add the potatoes. I think you can go ahead and add the thyme. We see you. We're coming. Shh. Be still, Parkway. Stir it up. Raise the heat. Bring this to a boil, and then reduce the heat until the potatoes are just done, which will take another about 10 minutes.